So I'm gonna come down here in the woods and see if I can find out what's going on here. So I think I just saw somebody on the property, and Carolyn hollered out, "Rob, there's somebody here." And I glanced down and I saw kind of a ruffle of the tree limbs. So I think somebody was here. It's you know, it's not much property. A lot of people say they want to get 20 acres. Man, 20 acres, trying to monitor 20 acres, see if anybody is on your property. I mean, it could be just a kid. It's summertime running through here. You can take a shortcut. There's a gas station probably, well, I'm not going to tell you how far from me because people have found me by me saying there's a gas station or Dollar General nearby, but there's a gas station. And if you take through the woods, which you would be trespassing about 6 different properties, it's not near as far. But like I said, you'd have trespass. This is the first time I've ever seen anybody do it. And there's just really no sign that anybody's been on our property before. So come down here and take a look. I've told you about our trespassers in the past. I'm guessing they just, when Carolyn said something, they scurried off. There's nothing here. We've, when I first moved here, it seemed like a Grand Central Station. I didn't have no trespassing sign up yet. Trying to build a tiny house and just trying to get everything together, and you know, everything was costing money. We just bought the property and paying for the house, construction materials. So it was just the last thing on my mind. But the first time there was a trespasser here, it was a subscriber. And again, Carolyn saw him. Carolyn just is not a people person. She's worse than I am. So she come running back down and she yelled, "Rob, there's somebody here." So I went up the hill. By this time, the person was in their car driving away, and they'd left a Sawzall for me as a gift and told me how they found me. And then the church came by one time wanting us to join their church, and they brought some food. And you know, I try not to be too rude, but I find that if you don't accept their gifts, they don't come back. I know it's rude, but I just don't want people here. And I know people think that's rude, and I've talked about this. As a matter of fact, I'll put a video where I did talk about it in length to give you a better understanding of why I don't want people here. At the end of this video, it'll be an up next box. So he comes over, and he's an older gentleman. And this place was just an absolute disaster area. And I was worried somebody was going to get hurt. There was metal all over the place and barbed wire fence. I mean, I was tripping over it. As a matter of fact, this path I am walking, the first day I came down here, the first time, I tangled myself up in barbed wire that was covered up in brush. Oh, tripped and scraped up my legs. So imagine me doing it. Now this older gentleman hurting himself. So I'm trying to walk him back up the hill, and he's wanting me to take a pie or something. No, we don't want pie, and we appreciate it and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not against church. It's just, you know, let me make my assessments of what I want to do. Don't trespass. At least that's my thinking. And I even said, you know, I need to get you off of here before you get hurt. Oh no, I'm not going to get hurt. Well, I don't have insurance. I don't see anything. So if somebody gets hurt, it's all on me. So I started researching trespassing laws, and I found out that they can come to your door. So when we were living in the camper, that was really dangerous because they could walk all the way down the property to get to our camper. And that was a good 200-300 foot trip down a hill through all kinds of garbage. It was just too dangerous. So I was glad we got in a tiny house and we was able to build a bridge and a path and all that. So then the second time someone came on the property, I don't even understand this guy, parks right on the road. And he parks his truck, walks down, stands in front of my tiny house and starts explaining to me what I need to do with sewage. And I don't even know who he was, but he acted like he knew who I was. He says, "This is perfect, you got a great place here." And so after that one, I put up a no trespassing sign. And I mean, we've only had one problem since then. I recently told you about that. She's been here twice. First time she came down, she came to the door, and coming to the door, she can come to the door with the trespassing sign, knock, and if I tell her to leave, then she is trespassing. So if she gets hurt coming to the door, I have to take care of that. But as soon as I say you're trespassing, now she's violated the no trespassing sign, and I've warned her. Now all the liability is on her. She wanted to talk to Carolyn. And I said, Carolyn, yeah, everybody seems to think Carolyn wants to talk, even my subscribers. My subscribers clearly don't understand Carolyn's social anxiety. It is a mental issue. Lots of people have it. Carolyn has gotten a lot better without medications. And I really am grateful for that. But I'm her protector. So if you're going to come on the property asking for Carolyn, I'm going to tell you to leave. And I tell you this, there's a lot of subscribers who just don't get that. Carolyn needs to have friends. Well, she doesn't want friends. I'm not doing anything that she doesn't want me to do. She's more than happy for me to run interference for her. So she wanted to find out if Carolyn wanted a wash machine, because she saw Carolyn doing laundry by hand. And later, Carolyn was cleaning up the garden, and the woman came down again. This time she trespassed on somebody else's property a good long ways to come around the back way. And I heard Carolyn talking. Who the heck is she talking to? The woman's went crazy already. So I come down here and there's that woman. So I ran back up. I literally grabbed the whole pole with the trespassing sign, no trespassing sign on it, held it in front of her face. The woman just did not understand. She just couldn't comprehend why I'm telling her to leave. I know, I'm just talking to her. I know, I'm just talking to her. Sir, I don't have any problems with you. Yes, I know you don't have problems with me, but I got one with you. I said, finally, I'm gonna have to call the police. I started heading back up the hill, and Carolyn had the thought to say, well, let me walk you off the property. Carolyn walked her up the hill off the property. But she would have been liable for her injuries. And people just don't seem to understand that. Once I told her to leave, well, first of all, I mean, she came around back. Now we keep an easement. I have to keep that easement open to this other property. I can put a gate there, but I can't put a lock on it. So it's not going to keep anybody out. I have to keep that easement. A lot of people seem to think I shouldn't have bought property that had easement rights on it for the utility company. But it really brought the price of the property down. This is why people can't find property. They're too picky. I'm not picky. I'm happy to have an easement there for them. If it only cost me a few $1,000 to buy a place, and I can do whatever I want with the rest of the property. So the other time we had somebody on the property was my dad. He came down. We weren't even finished with the tiny house yet. We were close, but we weren't finished. And the reason I remember that is I had to keep the wood stove going for Carolyn because she was in the camper. And I had to keep the wood stove going in the house because that's where we were visiting, was in the house. So we'd walk down, fill the outdoor heat exchanger. So that's the only reason I remember. I'm not complaining. I'm saying that's how I remember. So he came down, and I tell you, we're under construction, and getting on the porch is a real challenge. And I even said, are you okay? Can you get on the porch by yourself? This is before we had the bridge. Yeah, I'll be all right. And sure enough, he tripped, even though, I mean, I made him, hyper aware of the situation, and I'm trying to grab him so he doesn't continue to fall. So, but he's coming down again tomorrow. I told you this a few days ago that he's coming down again, but this time it's going to be much safer. We got the bridge. I'm not going to let him park on the property because he's bringing a little car. I think he'd get stuck. We'll have him parked down the road and I'll pick him up, because that little car, he's got an old pickup truck and it runs great. He just doesn't trust it. And he's got a motorcycle. He lives down in Florida. And his neighbor watches after him. They watch after each other. They're both getting up there in age. So they watch after each other and take care of each other. The neighbor, husband, is pretty ill right now. So Dad's been doing a lot to help out around for her. So she says, well, I need you back. I don't want you out there in that motorcycle and get hurt. I need you to come back and help me. So she's loaning him the car. But it's just a little car. So then when we get here, we'll take him right over the bridge and sit on the porch. And there's nowhere to really sit and visit because Carolyn's son is using a camper right now. It's kind of disappointing. I'd like for him to have stayed the night. But he said next time he comes up, he'll stay the night. But, we can only have so many campers here, spare rooms. Even when we had a full-size house, how many spare rooms do you actually have? So I'll just make sure he doesn't get hurt. But Dad wouldn't sue me. I mean, he's got insurance. He'd just say he tripped on somebody else's sidewalk. Go over to the neighbor's house. Oops. No, but I'm very cautious about people trespassing here. It's just in Missouri, people tell me I need to put up a fence, and I do. I have a fence around most of the property. But back there, they can jump that. So that's my biggest problem, is keeping that secure. And then there's a fence all the way up there. The only place there isn't a fence is right in front of the house. And then there's no gate at the easement. So I feel like I'm pretty secure. I just can't imagine. Even my neighbor has a no trespassing sign. So that woman traversed with a no trespassing sign their property to get to our property. There's just some people who just don't get it, that we don't want you there. And insurance is the big thing. I don't need to be insured. The house is $5,000. It burns down, I can build a new one. I have my own insurance plan. So if you click this up next box to take you to that video I was talking about, I just don't want people here. No trespassing. So if I can inspire you to take care of yourself when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.